weighed in on the movie. And I was astounded by his comments.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I saw that and I couldn't believe the title of the article, and I purposefully didn't read it because I wanted to hear you present it and the take of it. So I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay,
So let's talk about it.
So when you say you saw the headline, was it my post on IJR?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the headline, y'all. Just when you thought you had Piers Morgan figured out, he says this about American Sniper. Now, I'm not going to read his entire comments, but oh well, heck, let's just.
No, you should, man. Totally read it.
Well, I'll read the ones that are on that I put up the post because this is this is an entire column that he wrote. He says, and again, these are quotes. Liberal filmmaker Michael Moore went so far as to brand all snipers cowards, a stinging claim that provoked an equally stinging response, and a claim with which I couldn't disagree more. Now, before I continue, this is a guy who probably most of us remember his failed Piers Morgan Tonight, which became Piers Morgan Live, following the Sandy Hook shooting. Tremendous anti-gun advocate, right? He tried to resurrect his dying show, talking against the Second Amendment, against ownership of various guns and so forth by law-abiding Americans. So this is this guy talking, right? So he's kind of cut, if you will, from the same cloth as Michael Moore and Seth Rogen.
Very much so.
Exactly. So he continues. Kyle was just told to go and do his job, to aim his expert eye through the eye of a high-powered rifle barrel and shoot people before they shot him or his fellow soldiers. Good snipers are hugely effective, as any Army commander will tell you. And sniping is no more, in quotes, cowardly than firing a rocket from an F-16. Finally, Chris Kyle, American Sniper, was not, in caps, a coward. He repeatedly risked his life serving his country in some of the most dangerous terrain on earth. And by doing his job so well, better than anyone in the country's history, he saved many American lives. He, all caps, is a hero. Kudos to Piers, dude.
Yeah, if you had read that quote to me and asked me which famous, news type personality guy said it, I would not have guessed Piers Morgan.
It's just to be if you were given a list of 20 names from which to choose, I mean, given, some of the really obvious, he might be one of the last ones you'd pick, again, based on his rabid anti-gun rhetoric.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Here's what's different about him, apparently. I mean, I gained at least a momentary grain of respect for him with this thing, but but kudos to him, like I said. Unlike the Michael Moores of the world, Seth Rogens of the world, he is able to separate his anti-gun, anti-war views from his views on a true American hero who did risk his life to save countless lives. We will never know how many lives this guy saved.
No, and it seems to me, it's funny, I was having a conversation with my brother about this morning, that like Cooper, who's a lefty as well, there's an ability to have a distinction between certain leftist views and a patriotic pro-defense type of perspective. Did you see, by the way, I posted up on the House Rules site, I'll put it up on ours, did you see Caleb Howe's article about it?
No, I didn't.
Okay, this is really interesting. Caleb, who was on the show last week, wrote this fantastic article, and he starts out by saying that we're supposed to, quotes under supposed to, we're supposed to object to the movie based on three things. Number one is that he's not as close to people as he shoots them as other people are when they shoot them. We're also supposed to hate the movie because the sniper says negative or derogatory things about the target. And then number three, we're also supposed to hate the movie because the movie in war portrays Islam as having bad things. And he's just right on about that, man.
Let me ask you this about about the movie, because I have not read the book. I have read small excerpts from it. But apparently, in his book, he talks about how fun it was to kill Iraqis. I wished I'd killed more. I hate the bastards or savages or whatever. Is that in the movie?
Well, it's a mix. I mean, he there's the overarching theme is there's one particular sniper guy that's taken out tons of Americans and is kind of debilitating some of the Americans' attempts to clear out these areas because this guy just keeps knocking them off.
Okay.
And in pursuit of this guy, Kyle kills a bunch of guys, and yeah, he's like, in fact, at one point, he's sitting in front of a psychologist, and he's obviously traumatized. Kyle is by some of the things he had to do. I mean, killing that little kid. There was another
War is
occasion.
hell, dude.
Right. There's another occasion where a guy is coming out with like a bazooka, and Kyle takes him out, and a little kid wanders over and picks the thing up, stands in the alleyway, and starts to point the bazooka at the oncoming, the military guys, the convoy coming down the street, or the Marines working their way through the neighborhood, and he's just screaming. Kyle is, put it down, put it down, put it down.
Yeah.
And then the kid drops it and runs off.
Here's a deal too. I mean, it's easy for fat ass morons like Michael Moore. I don't like him. Can you tell? To sit here on their asses, have never done anything for this country in their lives. They exist because of people. They live in a free country because of people like Chris Kyle and military previously. It's easy to judge comments made by someone that is traumatized, is stressed, in the hell of war. It's really easy to sit back and judge for people like him.
Well, sure, and so they show both. There are other times that Kyle is just stoked to death to shoot a guy who's about to kill an American, or a guy who's in the process of burying a
IED.
An IED. And there's one scene where he's talking to a psychologist, and he's obviously traumatized by what he's gone through. And the guy's like, well, are there things that you've seen and done that you feel badly about that are affecting you? And he goes, oh my gosh, no, not at all. I'm prepared to go to meet my maker right now and explain proudly why I did what I did. The thing that bothers me are the Americans that I couldn't save, and the enemy that, for one reason or another, I couldn't shoot.
And right on, man.
Yeah, so it is. It's not rah heroism. This guy is fantastic and everything's perfect. I mean, it totally has an impact on his marriage. And it totally has an impact on him psychologically. But on the other hand, unlike Munich, it doesn't humanize the enemy. It's not like, well, poor Bahmad, his mother loved him very dearly, and Bahmad's brother died at a young age of cancer, and Bahmad's entire life has been mourning his brother's passing, and circumstances beyond his control have put him in a position to push back. I mean, it doesn't have that at all. I mean, it's just like, yeah, these are people, and these are people. These people over here are doing horrible, awful things to Americans, but also to the residents of their own city. And the Americans are there, and they're not. I mean, they're not whitewashed.
Dude, this is what's completely lost on the left, who castigate this movie. War movie, oh, bad, because America's bad. The military's an extension of America. Bad. This guy's a cold-blooded killer, whatever have you. Marcus Luttrell, author of Lone Survivor, and of course the movie starring Mark Wahlberg, pointed out the other night on Hannity that what he thought is awesome about American Sniper versus his movie. Obviously, he liked his own movie, where his movie was mostly about war. This movie is also about the human condition, as you talked. It's about the impact it had on Chris Kyle, the impact it had on his family, and the left, again, cannot get behind its hatred of America and the military and understand this is a pretty powerful human story as well.
It's a very human story because it's a complex thing, man. Um, you have to disconnect yourself. You have to kind of in a role like his where it's so far off. It's kind of video game esque. It's easier to to understand. Yeah, this guy's vermin and he needs to be put down. And it's also a necessity to make it no more complicated than if this guy had the chance, he'd kill me, and I just stopped him from killing one of my brothers, period.
Yeah.
I'm doing my, and he even says that to one of the people that are talking to him. He's like, look, I'm doing my job, um, and it's what I was sent to do, and I don't really think about it anything more than that. I'm defending my country. I'm told what to do. I go do it.
Who would have thunk that what you just said, Piers Morgan, of all people, would agree with 100% because he said the same damn thing. Pigs have flown, Michael.
Yeah, I would. I certainly would not have guessed that. That is a well, I can't say I like Piers Morgan anymore or anything like
Oh,
that.
I don't.
Uh, right? But what I can say is some combination of broken clocks are right twice a day and good for him.
Yeah, I can go with that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And then fast forward to the end. I mean, everybody knows how the movie
Okay.
ends, right?
Oh yeah, but dude, you're making me not want to see. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Well,
But how
yeah,
am I
this
making you
cannot
not
have a
wanna see it?
happy ending, huh?
Well, you know how it ends.
Of course I do, but you're going to describe the scene, aren't you?
Well, the final scene of the movie, and this I don't know. Maybe I've read
Jessica,
too
do you
much
think you
about
should
it.
be doing this? Are you going to see the movie, Jessica?
I want to see the movie, but now it's I'm
Because
actually
Howsam is just
the
a
whole
sport.
time I've been going nah nah nah. I'm
I
not
know.
listening. Nah
I
nah nah.
wanted to put my fingers in my ears and hum, but I have my headset on. So, all right, Howsam, tell us about
Well,
this.
here's the thing: is and maybe it's because I've read too much about it, or I read the book, or I know the fact that Chris Kyle is no longer living.
Right.
There was interplay between he and his wife, and things about how he and his wife met, and things that he went through in SEAL school and all that that I certainly didn't know.
Right.
But there was nothing that was like, oh wow, I didn't realize Chris Kyle is no longer living. Oh, I didn't realize that he was shooting, bad guys. And I knew that the final scene of the movie, and had you read my article about Eastwood and Cooper, you would have known this too, that the movie ends with still pictures of his service at Arlington Stadium.
I did not know that. No,
Yeah, well, you obviously didn't read my article.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so if you were unaware, Chris Kyle, by the way, Mike, he was a Navy SEAL. He was a sniper in Iraq. Were you aware of those facts?
I wasn't sure where, but I was pretty much.
And a sniper is a guy that uses a special rifle that shoots, in some cases, extraordinarily long range. It's not a
Wait.
hand-to-hand.
Right. Okay. So back to reality here. Did they say in the movie, or did any term like some of the farthest shots he took, like equated to how many football fields or whatever?
You know what? I'm not going to answer that question because there's something related to that sort of thing that's central to the plot.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're not answering. But
yeah, there's definitely discussion of distance because that's an issue with snipers, and so it shows him, when he's training. It shows him when he was a kid. Flashbacks of him as a kid hunting, training at distance. Shooting, in theater at distance. There are things related to that, yes.
All right, cool. So,
I won't give any further answer to that.
And after I see it, we're going to have to talk about it all over again. I will not see it tomorrow, so we don't repeat today's show. But okay, you guys, believe it or not, Hausen, we are under a minute in the first hour. Talked about one topic, so we're good to go. We may run till 7 o'clock tonight. This is The Right Mics with Mike Miller, Michael Hausen. Don't go away. We will be right back, and you better be as well.